If you want the ultimate driver sedan, you might think that your best bet comes from Germany, maybe a BMW M car or a Mercedes AMG. But for the past couple of years, you'd be wrong. It's actually a Cadillac. What? The old man brand Cadillac? Yep, it's this CT5-V Blackwing. And we think this is the best driving sedan in the world right now. And in this video, we're going to tell you why. We're also going to take a look into the future because the amazing platform that underpins this car is about to spawn 3 new models that should be extremely good to drive as well. You're watching Autoblog, and stay tuned because this is going to be a fun one. So let's start with a quick walk around of the CT5-V Blackwing. Now, the one we're testing is Coastal Blue Metallic. I think this is a lovely color to get your CT5-V Blackwing in. Now, Cadillac also offers a really nice program now where you can customize your Blackwing in one of over 160 different colors. The program is called Curated by Cadillac, and I absolutely love this because my dream was always to order like a pink manual CT5-V Blackwing, and now that's possible thanks to Curated by Cadillac. I think that would just be the coolest thing ever to rock a pink one of these, or any crazy color, honestly, to be perfectly honest. Now, for 2025 model year, they facelifted the entire CT5 lineup, including the V and Blackwing models. I gotta say, I kind of liked the outgoing model a little better. I think it was just a little bit cleaner, but this new one is growing on me, especially on the Blackwing models. It just has a very aggressive look to it with this new headlight design. You also get some really cool lighting animations here, which is very nice and very luxurious. You also get an available carbon fiber package, which this car has, which I know a lot of people are going to like. I'm not a huge fan of carbon fiber on the outside. It's just another thing to get scratched up, but it does look very nice. And one thing that I really do love on these Blackwing cars are that you just have 19-inch wheels. You don't have 20s or 21-inch wheels. Keeps the ride good. I know, listen, I know big wheels look great, but 19-inch wheels are the right size to keep the ride great, which is more important to me. You can get carbon ceramic brakes on this car as well. We do have the precision pack on this car, which is why we have the blue wheels. We just have the Michelin Pilot Sport tires here, but you can get Cup 2s on this car if you want to be very aggressive and you plan to take this car to the track. We have 275 tires in the back, but we've got some massive 305 tires here in the rear. And then just a very clean rear end here. We've got the new quad square tailpipes back here that make an amazing noise. We also have the little carbon fiber spoiler here that looks great. And we've got our V Blackwing badge back here that just looks so cool. If I can bring that into focus for you, just letting people know subtly that you have the coolest Cadillac on the market. There is a decent amount to talk about here on the inside of the Blackwing, where I don't think this has the nicest interior of all sports sedans. I do think that some of the BMWs and Mercedes and possibly the Audi as well just have a little bit better fit and finish, you know, a little bit better materials, but this is certainly a nice cabin, especially with these optional, I believe they're Recaros, but they're unbranded, especially with this particular color that this car has. I love this kind of yellowy caramel interior with kind of this gray and red material here. These are actually massage seats too, which is cool, heated and ventilated. So Cadillac kind of gives you everything, even though this is the sportiest seat option. We do have some race harness loops here. So, and these are also carbon backed buckets. So I love that even though these are kind of the sportiest seats, they are still extremely comfortable, and they do have heating and ventilation and power and massage. So still very much a Cadillac. And as we hop in here, you'll find that we have the 10-speed automatic on this car. I'll tell you a little bit more about what that entails. because we have the 10-speed automatic versus the available 6-speed manual on this car. So you'll see our steering wheel is going to be a little bit different on this car compared to the one that's in the 6-speed manual car, because we have this little bar at the top. That means that we have hands-free SuperCruise on this car, which you cannot get if you get the manual car. So again, if you want this car to be a little bit more drivable, you might want to get the 10-speed automatic. So something interesting to think about there. You do also have paddle shifters on the wheel. Obviously, you wouldn't have those if you got the manual transmission car. Something you would have, though, if you got the manual transmission car, the V button wouldn't be here. It would actually be down here. It would be a little bit of a bigger button. And you would also have a little rocker down here for your performance traction management. That's all handled on the screen when you get the automatic transmission, which is a little bit interesting. And then this center console is a little bit different here in the manual transmission car. You don't have this controller knob that controls the central screen. It's still a touch screen both ways, but you just don't get the controller knob. And then this is repositioned for all the drive modes. So a little bit interesting that that all changes based on your transmission choice. Now we do have this massive screen no matter which transmission you get. That was new and added for the 2025 model year, similar to what you'd get in something like a Cadillac Lyriq. It's a little bit similar to what you get in the Corvette now as well. So you can change the layout of it over here. So you can have it be a full color map here on the center, which is kind of nice if you're just kind of cruising along on the highway. You can have it showing your assist stuff for your cruise control and whatnot. You can have it be more of a clean display. I, of course, like it to be my gauges because this is a performance car. I mean, come on, of course. And when you change your drive modes down here, it's actually going to change what these gauges are going to look like. So if I put it into sport mode, you'll see they're going to be more of a tack focused gauge. And then if I put it into track mode, you'll see they change again. Now we have kind of a hockey stick style. We've also got our tire pressure and some other very important stats there. And if I push the V button right here, you'll see this is going to pop up, and that is going to allow me, if I push it again, to activate my performance traction management. It's a little bit hard to get into. You have to like make sure you activate it. Now I can go into my PTM settings, which I can either do on the touchscreen. It goes away quickly, so you have to make sure that you either do it here on the touchscreen, or it actually changes that rocker. Now instead of the drive modes, it's going to switch between these modes. So you have a couple of different settings. This is basically your more advanced traction control. So you have fully off, which is a little bit scary, so careful with that one. Then you have, so that's to turn off performance traction management. You have wet mode, dry mode, sport mode, race 1 and race 2 is going to be your most aggressive here on the performance traction management. So, you know, race 2, most aggressive, you know, be careful with that one, I should say. And then we also have over here on this side, we have an SD card slot. I can go ahead and show you that over here. And that is going to be for our performance data recorder. This is technology out of the Corvette. The Camaro also had this too, but it's gotten better over the years. So it can function as a basic dash cam, which is pretty useful when you're just driving along. But more interestingly, it can also record your track sessions. So you can actually like program different racetracks on here, which is so cool. So if you have like a home racetrack that you go to all the time, it can learn the start finish line of it, and then it'll give you advice to make you go faster around the racetrack. It'll tell you better lines and things like that. It'll tell you your optimal lap time, how to get closer to that. I've used this on the racetrack and it is absolutely amazing, and it will help you become a better driver. This is incredible, and you know, this is worth it, honestly. Like, you know, compared to other performance cars, like not having this in other performance cars is like one reason alone why I would want the CT5-V Blackwing. All right, now that's enough talking about the CT5-V Blackwing. You want to see how it drives, and it's spectacular. Let's see what a supercharged V8 with 668 horsepower and 659 pound-feet of torque feels like out on the road. Now we've got the 10-speed automatic. I've driven the 6-speed manual. Both are absolutely amazing transmissions, but this 10-speed automatic is going to be the faster option. So we've got the launch control set up, release the brake to launch, and there we go. perfect launch off the line. Woo, that was 0 to 60 in 3.96 seconds, zero drama off the line. I have the performance traction management set to race 1, so the second most aggressive setting there, so it let me get a little bit of slip, but boom, right off the line. So a sub 4-second launch was what I was able to get right there. We'll maybe try that again in a little bit. It's going to be difficult to beat that with the manual transmission car. The manual does give you no lift shift, which is a cool thing that General Motors does on its manual transmission cars, but I still love Cadillac for offering this car both ways. You know, letting you do the automatic, which, you know, makes this car a better daily driver, meaning that maybe more people will want to buy it. It is a great 10-speed automatic, shifts incredibly quickly when you're at full tilt, especially when you're in track mode, and it just does such a great job when you're just tootling along in traffic. You know, just a really great job being an automatic in normal circumstances as well. I really do love it, and as you just saw, getting it off the line is pretty great, but it's not going to be as quick as some of those German twin turbo V8 cars, even if it does have a little bit more power than some of them, because it's only rear wheel drive. It just doesn't have the all wheel drive traction that some of its German competitors do. And I really don't care. So what if it can't rip off like a 3-second flat 0 to 60? So what if, you know, it doesn't absolutely pin me back to my seat? It doesn't matter, because the CT5-V Blackwing is lighter, it has lighter steering, and overall, it's just a more thrilling experience. You'll notice that as we come into the turns here, I've still got it in track mode, and oh my goodness, it is just so much torque. The thrill of an American V8 like this, absolutely perfect steering. This Alpha chassis, I've been telling you, ever since the Camaro was new, and, you know, dating way back even to the CTS and the ATS, this chassis has just been pure brilliance, and GM has just been perfecting it and perfecting it and perfecting it until we get to cars like this and the CT4-V Blackwing, which is, you know, unfortunately not continuing, but this is just the absolute apex of what a sports sedan can be. I really just kind of find it comical that America, not Germany, found this recipe, which is you don't need to go for the most outright speed, the most outright off-the-line performance, which is what all of the Germans did. They went for hybrid, they went for all-wheel drive, they went for quick-shifting automatic transmissions, whereas America, it has big power. It has a supercharged V8. I'm not going to say that this isn't a powerful car, but they didn't fall into the trap of adding all-wheel drive. They didn't fall into the trap of adding hybridization to make it as powerful as it possibly could. They gave it a manual transmission option, which is slower than the automatic. They kept it rear-wheel drive, which means it's a little bit slower off the line. But they made a better car because of that. This does not win when you just compare the numbers. But when you sit here and you take it around corners and you listen to that V8, oh, and you just play with it, you enjoy this more than an M5, more than an RS7, more than an E53. You do not have this much fun in any of those cars. And that's what gets me so excited for what is coming next, because we know that Cadillac is doing a next generation of CT5. That has already been confirmed. So I can't wait to see what's coming with that. There's probably going to be another V model. There's probably going to be another Blackwing model. So hooray for that. And the good news is that I already love the current CT5-V. It's got a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, which is actually kind of an unsung great engine. It makes like 360 horsepower and a little over 400 pound-feet of torque. And with this 10-speed automatic, it makes like a really great noise, especially with some really quick shifts. But that engine is probably going to go bye-bye for the next gen CT5-V. It's probably going to get replaced with a naturally aspirated V8. So imagine a nice 4-door sedan with a naturally aspirated V8. So I think it's going to be the 6.7 liter Corvette engine that's currently in the C8. That is going to be something to wait for. And then there's probably going to be another Blackwing with a supercharged engine. So really looking forward to the next generation CT5 and whatever variants come off of that platform. But there's more still. We know that the Camaro is also coming back. Now, Chevy is being extremely coy about this. This is all kind of rumor mill stuff, but we are getting a new Camaro also based on this Alpha platform. General Motors has to make its money back if it's going to continue making an Alpha platform, but this is great news that we are getting another Camaro. We're not 100% sure if it's going to be a coupe again. It might be a sedan, which honestly I'd be perfectly fine with. You know, you look at the Dodge Charger and the Dodge Challenger. The Charger was always the hot seller, and as long as it drives great, I would be fine with the Camaro becoming a sedan as long as it looks really cool. It has a V8 engine. I'd love for them to do a manual transmission again. I'd love for them to put the supercharged engine back again. But as long as it looks cool, make it more practical. That was always the big problem with the previous generation Camaro. It just wasn't as practical as something like the Challenger or the Charger. So as long as you can keep it small and lightweight, you know, kind of like this CT5, but you can keep it that amazing driver's car, that's going to be amazing. And again, it could have the 6.7 liter V8 that's in the Corvette. It could have this supercharged LT4 or an advanced version of it, you know, maybe like a new version of it that's updated, that's even better. Just can't wait to see what the Camaro is going to be. And lastly, there's kind of this mysterious third car that's going to be on the Alpha platform. Buick is also going to get a sedan based on the Alpha platform. We have no idea what it's going to be called. I would love for them to bring back the Regal name, but kind of do it more properly this time, because the last 2 times that they had the Regal name, it was actually the Vauxhall and Opel Insignia from Europe. So we got kind of the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that was in those cars overseas. We were at one point supposed to get the twin turbo V6 that was in the Vauxhall Insignia VXR overseas, but we never ended up getting that. We did end up getting a Regal GS, but that model was supposed to have that twin turbo V6, and then it didn't. It ended up just having a 4-cylinder. It did have a manual, but you could only get the manual with front-wheel drive. You couldn't get it with all-wheel drive, so it was never like a true performance sedan. This time around, I really hope they let Buick have a true performance car. Now, how are they going to differentiate it? How are they going to separate it when there's also a Cadillac and there's also a Camaro? Well, remember how I mentioned that there was a CT5-V with a twin turbo V6, 3-liter? Perfect application for that, right? Why don't you bring back the Buick Regal Grand National? So you could have a regular Buick Regal with like a 2-liter turbo. You could do a hybrid. You could do whatever you want to do there. Then you could bring back the Grand National, 3-liter twin turbo, 360 horsepower. You could bump it up, whatever you want to do. 360 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. It makes a great noise. I think that would be a great successor to the Grand National name. And then you bring back the GNX, but you do so with the twin turbo 3.6 liter V6 that was in the CT5-V Blackwing, because that is a beast of an engine. That engine makes like 472 horsepower and like 445 pound-feet of torque. So bring that back in the GNX, offer it. You could just do an automatic because the Grand National never even had a manual, but you could do a manual if you want. And I think that would finally make the Grand National and the GNX people happy. And it would be a little bit different from the Camaro and the CT5 because it wouldn't have two V8 options, it would have two twin turbocharged V6 options, and it would fully live up to the Regal name. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the 2026 Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing, one of the best driver sedans of all time and definitely of the moment right now. And we hope you enjoyed our little peek into the future, what we know of it right now at least. Which one of those three cars are you most excited to see? The next generation CT5, the Chevy Camaro, or the surprise Buick sedan that nobody saw coming? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, it would be really great if you left us a like, subscribe to the channel, and you can check out autoblog.com to keep up on the latest news. If we hear anything more about the next generation CT5, the Camaro, or the upcoming Buick sedan, that's where you'll hear about it first. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.